Well, thank you I want to honor all of you for taking the final step. And I guess this is really the final step in which I can offer uh, the coach training for all of you, unless ICF decided to give us an extra credential, which is called the MMCC. If not, this is really the final stage of your training, in which there is so much that I can share in terms of my skills and knowledge, because at the first level, we begin with learning how to coach, in a different way that is not transactional, that's offer our clients a reflective thinking space. That is when in level one, you are being challenged, to switch from a logical, critical thinking, into something a little bit more kind of like, okay, what do you mean by that? What are you learning? It's kind of like inviting. Okay, it's going to be a learned behavior because our mind, doesn't naturally flow in that order because of the way our workplace environment, created a structure in which you use more of critical thinking. And we came to a point to realize that critical thinking has a certain limitation in terms of offering deep transformation. But that's the beginning stage. We had to get our coaches learning to appreciate reflective thinking. And that's what level one training is all about. Given just a short period of 75-hour training, I'm sure that we can at least achieve 60% success rate, even if students just complete level one. It's just that there's a lot of things that still needs further improvement, but at least 60% the clients will feel, this conversation is a little bit different. Okay. But whether the actual impact is able to, whether we can actually deliver a high impact in terms of making the change last is still questionable. Okay. But we are at least very happy. 60% of the time, our client can feel this conversation does open up something which I can start to work on it. Or at least they feel that this conversation is something different from the usual form of conversation. Okay, so that's where level one is all about, getting our coaches be to appreciate reflective learning. And that's where and then after that, what happens? We upgrade you to level two, in which all of you are struggling to forget what you have learned in level one. Okay. And that's where we introduce the PCC markers, which is in tandem with the ACC conversation, in which we put some elegant structure in the way you're inviting people to reflect. Now, like for example, the coaching agreement, how we emphasize on making sure that you check in with the clients, how the conversation is serving them, and also be very clear in terms of what people is requesting out of this coaching conversation, so that you can figure out what about the what and who aspect of this conversation. So that's where level two comes in, to give that reflectiveness, the reflective space, a little bit structure to bring the conversation to an outcome based on ICF core competency, develop the understanding of ICF core competency. Okay, so by now most of you can celebrate with 80% success. Okay, mainly because with the elegancy of checking in and checking out as to how this conversation is serving the clients, you're able to honor the request, okay, without the coach being having an agenda of bringing the clients to a point of resolution. In addition to that, you are exposed to a new dimension that is not really addressed in level one, which is the who and the what aspect. Now, you all now understand, okay, I must aim towards a who and the what, the who and the what. And I guess the common struggle right now is, what about the who and what about the what that I need to have more reflectiveness? Okay, so that is where the third level training comes in to complete the entire puzzle for you. And there's a lot of things that I want to say about the third level training. And the best way for me to share that is to invite you to watch a video clip. Okay. Oh, Well, I guess you should be able to by now figure out what kind of video clip you'll be watching. It doesn't come as a surprise. Okay. I'm going to share this video clip. It's not that long. It's about, let me see. Oh, it's quite long. It's 8 minutes. So just be ready to enjoy this 8 minutes video clip. And then what I would like you to do after watching this video clip is share with me what do you think is the message behind this video clip. My intent of sharing this video clip to you. And the title of this video clip is ta-da! Wow. Anyone would like to share your message? What do you think this video is intended? What was the message behind this video?
Coaching monks.
Coaching mastery.
Yeah.
Not monks or none.
Yes. No, but if I'm on a more serious note, the key probably messages I hear, I will not spell out many. Let me just look at it at 4 levels. That when we choose to take the path of the coaching mastery, we are almost becoming warriors for coaching, but it will take a lot of dedication. This monk had to train for 11 years, and even at that last moment is not sure what is going to happen. Perfectionism takes a high level of concentration. It looks like if we thought that we were listening and observing, we ain't seen nothing yet as far as observing and listening is concerned. That's what I picked.
Beautiful. Anyone else would like to continue what Joe has shared? You know, what is the message behind this? Rainbow, go ahead, then after P. Then.
Hi. Okay, so I think being a master is not only a technique, but also the mindset. And then being a master is just a beginning of a new journey.
Yeah. It's not, I like to use the word heart attitude. You know, it's the attitude of the heart. No, so far in level 1, level 2 training, we focuses a lot on the skills and the way we should be looking at coaching, the science of it, the way how we should be thinking around it, and how we can execute that with precision and with techniques and That's really good, you know, at a level of precision. But I guess that really falls short of what mastery is. Okay. And so I thought the heart attitude, the way we see what we are doing, you know, what is this craft all about, will eventually, you know, take us above beyond those who are skillful in their craft to, you know, that place of being masterful in executing a skill that is precise. Because we don't want to have a cold-hearted surgeon. Okay. You know, we want to have a compassionate surgeon. You know? So I guess. Now, P, go ahead and share your thought.
Yes, I think there was 2 things that sort of goes hand in hand with what you were just saying, because it was about focusing on the present. And, you know, as mastery skill level coaching, we need to really be in the present with the client. And then it was the whole thing about where he was, the monk was having an issue with, I think it was called the monkey up the tree. And it was talking about hit it at the right moment to release the energy. And I interpret that as sort of really getting into the core and not just the surfaces that we're seeing, but really getting into what is it that we release the energy for our clients and for ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Dana. Go ahead.
And I think also the thing I got from it, without it becoming sort of a religious thing, the thing that spoke to me was at the beginning when they talked about it being a spiritual practice and sacred.
Yeah.
It's something that you feel that it's something that you really embody. And just to go to that monkey up the tree example as well, the master was saying something about he needed to have. He was just trying too hard. It's too much of the doing, and he needed to have
Yeah.
that peace within.
Yeah.
So it's really embodying it and being sort of, well, maybe next level, Zen level, I don't know, but being Zen like, having that sort of peace inside, and just sort of
Mm-hmm.
and going with the flow, you know. And but I think I get the sense it's a little bit more of intuition involved in the mastery level.
Beautiful. Well said. Anyone like to continue on your thought about this video? Nog is thinking.
Yeah, I will continue. And by the way, I have Azadeh here with me. Team Dubai. So yeah, what I would like to share is that this learning, never-ending learning journey. And as you said, we learn the skill, but then there is the mind, body, and soul, right? For it to be holistic and complete. So now, as you said before, we've arrived to that skill level maybe, but now it's time to start working on the inside, the mind being still and at peace, and then that soul, the inner, yeah. So that's what, and with persistence, everything can be reached in terms of mastery.
Yes, well said. Okay, to many extents, this is now that when you come to this final stage, you know, it has a lot to do with spirituality, not in the sense of being religious. To a certain aspect, transformation does involve more than just a science. While the science is important, and we really need the science. The science gives us the precision, manage the process, being professionals. But I think beyond just being professionals, we want our clients to look at us with their awe, to say that we are someone who really believe in what we are doing. And I think that is what it takes to be a masterful coach. That your clients believe in your total dedication. Not just you being professional, but you doing the very art of bringing change to another human being through a very delicate balance of managing a conversation between the two persons. Okay, it's a craftsmanship. And that craftsmanship requires the coach to put all in his pursuit for mastery. And that means time, effort, and also a lot of tears. Okay, if there's no tears, the pain has something beautiful to offer to us. And I guess I wish I could be able to speak a lot, you know, on the power of pain. Okay, because in 21st century, it seems that pain is something that now we want pleasure and motivation and joy, and well, that is true in the positive psychology. Like, yeah, we need that yeah. Okay, but to balance out things, pain is a part. Oyster produce beautiful pearl out of pain. Yeah, so there's something beautiful in which pain can offer to us. And I guess I'm not sadist, okay? Please understand. I'm not someone who kind of punish the servants and slave drive and kind of, hash, okay? But I guess through the journey of learning, the pain makes the learning complete. When we look back and say, wow, I contributed, I've labored hard, and now I arrive, and that's where you can be and celebrating the joy and be proud about the achievement. And I guess this is what I want to say about the third level training. There's a lot of things that this third level training is not, and I thought it might be important for me to set the context here before you decided to embark on this journey. Number one, this third level journey is not just MCC credential, okay? MCC credential is the byproduct in which you can celebrate the labor of your hard work, that you have at least gain those muscles for you to go forward and apply for your MCC credential. It is not the main motivation, okay, of, oh, that level is about me going to become MCC now. It is the byproduct of you honoring the mastery of skills, and that you're able to have the prerequisite to understand what ICF is looking for at the NCC level. Okay, so it's not about you. It's not about the MCC application. It's about the mastery of skills. Second, it's not about that after you finish the training, you will become MCC or you will have to apply for your MCC credential. No, it is about you continuing your learning to make sure that you don't sabotage yourself. Why? Because you have arrived at this PCC level in which skills is starting to form. Now, I'm not worried about, no, I'm not worried about. The thing I worry about is that students are lazy. Lazy not in the sense that they don't work hard, okay? We need to understand the part that there is when we don't do anything, we become plateau. And that's the worst stage to be in terms of skills. Skills is not like knowledge. It actually decay. Unless you have managed to crystallize it. You are now a tadpole. You know tadpole, the baby frog tadpole? They just came out from their eggs. So they are now a tadpole. And remember, you are not meant to be tadpole forever. Okay? You will develop, you will get rid of your gills that allows you to breathe in water to evolve into a frog that can breathe through your nose. At this stage in which you are neither here nor there, it is very critical that you continue to solidify your skill set. Okay, and that's where I guess for those who are in pursuit of mastery, the third level training is a very critical stage in which you get a sense of the flow intuitively rather than formulated. Now, all you need to do is take a look at all the recording of this second level submission. One thing you can see that is very consistent, 99.99% consistent, that is very formulated. For example, immediately after the coaching agreements were established, may I offer you a metaphor? Agreed. I mean, my question is, why would you need to offer a metaphor? Well, I don't know, just because I think it is a good idea, because everybody do it. This is one example of that stage, in between stage. Metaphors are critical and important part of, transformation, as you are able to work with deeper meanings through a metaphoric language. But it is not meant to be a structured, formulated method. Okay, so the artfulness part of the missing piece here is the artfulness. Now, if you don't introduce and break the rule at this stage, guess what happens if you continue coaching in this manner for the next 1 year? Think about it. Remember, we are constantly reinforcing our behavior. And provided the fact that you're not in the ecosystem where somebody actually kind of like push you, no, it's not good enough. No, you're not getting there yet. Okay, you're not listening enough. Okay, if you don't have the ecosystem to push your limits, what happens? Your skills will remain at this formulated process, and you're imprinted to this formulated way of coaching. Now, if you are struggling in level 1 to break through from your critical thinking to able to shift into more reflective thinking, if you have to unlearn all that, trust me, that will happen at the second level. You have learned to be reflective using a structured method. Oxymoron, isn't it? But that is what happens if you review through all the second level submitted recording. We become very reflective in a very structured manner. So the missing piece right now is to introduce artfulness into the already high achieved capacity, so that you don't depend on the structure to be reflective. Am I making sense? Yeah, you might be asking, is there another fourth level to make sure that we don't become artful in our reflective in a structured manner? Unlikely, because you already have no form. The rest of it is to be more intuitive around how can you be more artful in calling out deeper meaning. So that's where you have to continue to develop based on theory, framework, science, and experiment with different processes within your artfulness. Can you see my point? So that's why in level 3, we have to do something for you, and that is to break your wings. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, to break that wings. Yes. Yeah. Because if we don't break the wings, you can't grow to be artful. You are always dependent on the structure. Do you see the point here? Great. So this is what the third level training is all about. It's a way of helping you to be artful around the mastery coaching skills that you have learned with the PCC markers, and we're just using the same thing that you learned in level 2, which is your understanding about the PCC markers, and take it into the next level in terms of how they are dynamically coming together. Okay, and what is most important is not the learning itself, but it's a journey. So as you've been through level 1, you realize it's going to be a 3-month journey that you get to experience the shift. And in level 2, it's the same thing. You started off the journey with the learning labs. What the heck is Ben talking? What the ants got to teach us? What avatar? What is this namaste and all this? Why is that integrated? What is he talking? Okay. But as you endure through the 6-month journey, suddenly things become clear. So that's the journey that we're going to go through that helps you to be artful. So the similar things will be happening again at this final stage, except that it's going to be in a very different format. So, and that's the purpose of today, open house, is in which I will share with you what is really behind your learning and what do we want to achieve, so that you can be more intentional as you're engaging in the various form of activity. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you very briefly how the programs are put together and what do we hope to achieve at each levels of learning. Okay, so there are altogether 5 different stages of learning. It has the component 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a learning lab, a practical lab, peer-to-peer coaching support, practicum, and coaching supervision. The only thing that is different in terms of the module is the practicum. The rest of it are pretty much similar to the advanced training, except that the learning goals are slightly different. Okay, so altogether, you will be going through 80 hours of a training that's going to stretch for a period of time until August. Okay, so let me go through each of them slowly. So the whole learning begins with learning lab, which we're going to have 6 sessions. We used to have 8 sessions in the previous cohort, which I decided to reduce that to only 6 sessions. I just realized that too much theory is not useful, so I will condense the learning into smaller bite size. And in this learning lab, what we are hoping to do is we want to the question that I have in mind is, how do we objectively evaluate the skills at the mastery level? That, in order to be objective, there must be some benchmark in which it is standardized or has been well articulated so that we can measure it. So that's where I would depend on the ICF core competency coaching. That's where I would use the understanding on what is required at the MCC level, that understanding as an objective assessment to help you to be able to demonstrate mastery. Okay, so I will go through kind of like key, kind of like what's the level up understanding at the MCC level, and walk you through why is it have to be done in this way and how to demonstrate it so that it creates some structure for you. It's kind of weird to kind of to create a structure to be artful. Yes, initially you need to know that when you're artful, this is the kind of demonstration, and the more you practice it, that's the more you can let go of the form. Okay, so that's where we will go through 6 sessions. Coaching skill set at MCC level, and how is that helping you to be more artful around the way you form a partnership with your client. So there are kind of like most of it you already know, because at the advanced level we went through an in-depth study of the Markov. Okay, so now we are just taking it at what is expected at MCC level, the mastery around it. So we are not going through kind of like specifically every marker. We are looking at the collective whole. Like for example, the coaching agreement as one piece, co-creating partnership as another piece, active listening as a standalone, which I'm going to spend more time around listening to the whole aspect. Okay, and I'm in the process of collecting case study to show examples of how we can look at the whole aspect at the deeper level, and powerful asking and direct communication in terms of extracting meaning. Okay, and finally the piece around creating awareness. Most of them are kind of like integrated together, but for the purpose of learning them, we're going to kind of like put them into very nice category, and each learning labs is going to uncover the expectation at the mastery level based on the MCC skill set. So this is pretty much happening in the month of January to February. That's where you will receive the heaviest, that is the most intensive period, because it's quite information loading. Okay, it will take a while for them to settle down. The good news is, I'm seriously telling you, it's a good news. And the good news is you got a 40-page documents to support you. And this 40-page document is a very careful documentation, my documentation of what I know about what is required to coach at MCC level. It has very clear explanation of the expectation and clear example of how you should be inquiring. Based on the last 2 intake, 100% of the students will use that documents as this is the Bible towards MCC. Okay, Alina will show you how that 40-page becomes so torn, with colors and stickers and bookmarks, and they really refer to that manual as the kind of like the reference guide, because it's really my hard work of carefully document down the expectation and trying to reduce that into Word documents. Okay, so that's why I'm not spending a lot of time in the learning lab to explain those things that is properly documented. I will highlight the key pointers and later on, you can go back and refer to the documents for your own self-reflection. Okay. One thing that is unique about the third level training is there is a lot of expectation in independent study and self-learning. Okay. I'm going to talk about that later. So that's why at this point, you just need to know that you have a document, and that document is to enable you to have your self-learning later on. So that's once you're able to clear February, which is, I guess, is the most important part to download the information. The rest of the time is basically putting the theory into applications. So we will have practical lab. In the last two intakes, we have lesser practical lab but more learning lab. But this time round, I changed it. Less learning lab, more practical lab. Okay, the practical lab is in which I will take case studies of recording, and we will dissect it as a group. Okay, so it's through the dissections, that you begin to see how where are the opportunities and where are the evidence to demonstrate artfulness. Okay, so that's going to happen in the period from February to June. Now, the only thing that you need to know is that the practical lab, though stretches from February to June, we are not meeting as frequent as we can. It will be like once in a month we meet again, so that it gives you time to do other stuff before we come back for our collective learning. Okay, so this is the practical lab. The learning goal is to map the theory with execution through collective learning. Okay, 8 sessions altogether that spreads from February to June. Starting from March onwards, we'll be meeting only once in a month, so that we at the same time it holds the learning space together. Okay, to keep the groups intact. Once in a month, starting from I think April or March. So that's pretty much covers the learning in terms of the knowledge part that is expected. We have to create a platform in which you let that knowledge slowly integrate into for you to internalize those learning. Okay, so the next two module is designed for that purpose, internalizing the learned concept. We have a peer-to-peer coaching support. It's exactly the same as the advanced training, with you and your friend practicing coaching together. Now, what I would encourage is that you bring a client who is not coach trained. Bring it in. Either you bring it person live, or you do a recording, but it has to be a client who is not a coach trained. Okay, either live or recorded, and you come together and share with one another your analysis of that recording. Okay, and the purpose of this is for you to understand what is it that you learn in theory. As you learn to kind of explain to one another what you're seeing as opportunity and evidence, okay, it helps you to assess how much you actually learned during the learning labs and the practical lab. Okay, it's more for yourself to be clear what you have understood. So that is one part of this process of helping you to internalize it, is for you to discuss that with your friend, what you are capable of conceiving. The next module, which is something that is new here, not new as in new in this level, but it's new to you as in it's not available in the advanced training, is practical. The way I structured the way the program is structured is that the third level will happen simultaneously together with the second level, which is students learning the PCC. learning the at advanced level, learning the markers. So we time it in such a way that you can be involved right now, and you will be involved in supervising the students in the advanced training. Okay, it's a serious business, okay, because you are practically a supervisor in the advanced training as the advanced students bring their client who is not the coach trained to come to the coaching supervision and coach them. And then after that, you are going to debrief the new students about how's their understanding around the markers. The reason why we want to do this is, first of all, we want to make sure that the conceptual knowledge of the markers is firmly ingrained inside you, that you can really say them by this in your hand, okay? In level 2 training, trust me, you just roughly know it's something like this or something like that. At most, yes, we must coach the who and the what aspect. That's so much most students can say about the markers. Okay, it shows that the actual precision, the knowledge level in terms of exact terminology or the exact definition is still very fuzzy for most students. That is reason why we want to do this. Think about being a doctor. The doctor had to memorize, okay, a lot of technical terms. Okay, what is this for and what is the benefit and function? And we test them in MCQ, mainly because we need to get certain information right. And that's the part of mastery, is that you know for sure this is what you are learning. The best way for you to acquire that is to make sure that you is to create a platform for you to teach other people. Because you are committed in the third level training, we have the confidence you will now be more motivated to memorize it. Okay, because you don't want to look like, you want to look like an expert in front of your junior. Yeah. So with that motivation, you will be driven to make a special effort to understand what are those markers, and you can kind of quote it, cite it. This markers 27 says this, markers 35 says that, markers 11 says that. Like you want, what I mean? So that's how we want. That's how we create the structure to allow you to kind of like get it ingrained inside your system. And it's going to be very useful because later on, as you move on to your own coaching supervision at the MCC level, you are able to call out specifically what are you demonstrating. Okay, it's designed to be helping you to be more intentional in demonstrating the skills. And these are all part and parcel of artfulness. In a sense that artfulness means you don't have to remember, you don't have to take time to try to remember what's that, something like that. You know what I mean? It comes out mainly because it is already inside you. So I have to make sure that we create platform for that to happen in this whole entire 8 months of training. Okay, so the peer-to-peer and the practicum is designed for that purpose of getting clear, concrete knowledge registered into your systems. Also, at the same time, for you to internalize those concepts. And then finally, we come to the last stage in July and August, in which we will have you demonstrating your skills and receive feedback around where is your learning at this point in time. Okay, so this is the rundown of how the program is being structured. Okay, any question? Ooh. Go ahead, Diana.
In the email that you sent out, you mentioned that the learning lab would be, you said there would be only one time slot, either at 3 p.m. or at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
The decision be made, because if it was 3 p.m., I think I would have I would struggle to do that.
Yes, I have not reached a decision yet, mainly because we have not get the full registration. So we will certainly want to make it at the most convenient time. And it seems that 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. is the most convenient time because it allows our friends from Europe side to be able to join us. There will be late afternoon for them, and students in Asia to be able to make it. But again, we had to see how many people is registering before we can see whether can we offer it at 2 different times. But because the class size is restricted to a small group, we just have to find the best optimum time. So it is only one time slot at the best, most convenient time, which is at this moment evening time. Unless vast majority says that we are okay with 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. But if not, otherwise the default timing is still at 8 or 9 p.m.
Then, and in advanced training, we had these sessions recorded. Will it be the same for this?
Yep, it will be the same recorded. So you only need to worry for the learning lab, which is 6 sessions, and the practical lab, which is 8 sessions. And this is happening in the month of January and February. Okay, so we are not there yet to decide the timing slot. It's going to be really flexible, and we just want to make sure that when we are able to firm out the decision, then we'll do a poll around it to see where's the majority people are fitting in, and then we come up with the best plan that can accumulate the vast majority of everybody. So just off the hand, there might be sacrifice, but the sacrifice won't be 50% of the time that you are not able to make it. But there will be some sacrifice that has to be made around maybe 20 or 30% of the time that you might have to kind of like sacrifice a little bit to make some arrangement for 1 or 2 of those sessions, so that you know, because of the time slot.
And Ben, do we need to submit final recordings as well, like we did in the advanced level?
Yeah, I'll cover that later on. About the requirements for completion. That is the last thing I'm going to worry about it. But I'll certainly address that later on in this presentation.
Then I missed the video.
Sorry, go ahead.
I missed the video you presented. Where can I find it?
You will find it in your new revised LMS. By this time, when you're doing your 3rd level, you will see the new revised LMS. You'll get very thrilled with it. Okay? It's so much professionally done up this time. Okay? So that will be as part of the video inside your learning archive.
Ben, I don't know if that has been asked before, but are there any other I don't know, experts that are like MCCs that you invite as a collaboration, or this time you will be the only one teaching?
I will be the only one to contain the purity. So it gives me a much more room to impart the skills and knowledge at a certain directions. It's not that other people are not good. It's just I want to make sure that we are shaped in one particular direction. At this stage, it's critical that you learn from just one source and adapt it 100% before you can evolve. If not, if too many sources, it's create a lot of kind of like interference. Yeah, which is okay at level 2, but not okay if you move on to be an expert. You learn only from one particular source. Okay, so sorry for being so biased, but I guess okay, it's only one source. Okay, one standard. This is the way. No interference. Okay. Good. Diana?
Class every year, Ben?
No, it really depends on level 2, as in, do I see a critical mass around it, or am I preparing a program director to be the director of training? So it's not every year training. I wish to have every year training, but it seems like it really based on how the level 2 students are performing. And if I can gather at least a good size, because it does take a lot of my time to be committed in your journey, and I just want to make sure that it is well spent in that regard. At least for this year, yes, it's on. Well, next year, I'm not sure yet until the advanced students comes in. Mhm. Any other questions in regard to how the modules is being structured? Okay. To give you a good assessment, in terms of your planning of the time, you just need to make sure that January and February is something that you can afford to study. Okay, because the main load in terms of physical time required is in January and February. And then thereafter, the rest of the time are really very flexible. Like the peer-to-peer is we're going to get you into groups and you're going to discuss how you're going to arrange yourself in a way that is convenient for you. Okay, now if you have to miss a few sessions of the peer-to-peer, that is fine. Basically, we're just setting up a study group for you in which you can get feedback or a structure for you to work on. But certainly, I will encourage you to be more involved in the practicum, in which you are actually teach the advanced students. Okay, because you've been that journey, you've been through that journey, you're totally lost what the markers is. You're totally lost. So that's where that's where you came in right now to help them. Okay, look guys, this markers is about this, responsive means this, you know what I mean? So you are learning by teaching them. Okay, and that's allowed you to really master the markers. Okay, I'm not setting this as a mandative, but it certainly is very useful when you start to teach another junior about the knowledge. Okay, so that's where there's a lot of flexibility because there's a lot of coaching supervision. So we're going to cast a Google schedule for you to pick. Yeah, I mean 10 sessions during this period of time for you to be involved. So there's quite a lot of flexibility after we finish the learning load, the main part of the learning in February. Mhm. Need to emphasize there's a difference between third level training. There is a difference between learning something and studying. A lot of us forget how to study, or we don't actually study now. Okay. In this third level, it requires you study. What does that mean? I need to explain because a lot of people forgot what it meant to study. Study means after you attend the class, it doesn't mean you learn it. It's like you go to university. Remember your university days? The lectures just only tell you some main ideas. This, and this, or just highlight to you. This is the conflict. These are the debate issues. These are things that we have not sorted out, or these are the main thing that you need to know. But the lecture did not teach you everything that is required. This is not spoon feeding you. It's just only telling you the main general direction in which this topic has been explored and studied so far. And then what it means? It means that after the lecture finish, you go to the library. In those days, we go to the library. We don't have internet. We go to the library and we search for the books and we start open up the books and we start to read for ourselves. Introduction, what is this all about? Then each session, and we underline and we make notes. And then we look at the lecture notes again and compare, okay, what is the teacher trying to say here? Or find out a little bit more what the teacher trying to say that is not clear to you. So this is called studying. This is not called learning. It's called studying. Okay, you're studying something. So third level training requires a lot of self-discipline in which you do your own studying. The manual is given to you 40 pages. There are 15 recordings at MCC level in the learning portal, and that's the most valuable resources. I'm not going to go through each of them. I'm only going to highlight a few key recordings that amplify the behavior. The rest of the time, you have to go to assess, you have to assess it, you have to assess the resources, listen it, look at your manual, reflect back what has been taught in the class, and make sense of it. So this is called studying. A lot of independent time set aside for your own study. You don't have to study every day. This is not a PhD program, okay? If you can just set aside 2 hours a week diligently, compound it over 8 months, you are well on track. Okay? That's all that is required. Discipline, 2 hours a week. Listen to the recording, go back to the manual, make some coloring, put some post-it stickers, at least self-assured. I did some study. Okay, whether it's sink in, I'm not sure. Okay, but at least if you do that, you are much on the track to get the whole framework in place. Okay, good. If not otherwise, fair enough. As long as you follow the momentum, that means join us for practical coaching sessions, join us for the practical lab, you will still catch up. Okay, but if you want to get the best of it, it requires self-study. Okay, good. Any questions around the program structure? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Great. For the final one, which is requirements for completion. So listen very carefully. Students get confused, especially every batch. They get confused. We wanted to make sure you get something tangible. Okay, good. So this is what's going to happen. Upon completing this certification and meeting the requirements, you will receive the certification as a certified master coach, CMC. Okay, there is such certification available right now in the market where people are certified as a master coach. Okay, so you can go about and say that I've completed 245 hours of training and I'm a certified master coach in transformative coaching. So that's your certification. It doesn't equal to MCC credential, but at least at certification level, you are able to tell your clients that I have reached that level as a certified master coach. In order to achieve that, you have to submit 2 recordings that is at least 7.5 to 8.0 in scoring based on ICF systems. Okay, that means every recording ICF assess that is based on the scoring systems. You have to score 8.0 and above for 2 recording in order to get your MCC credential. So we are lowering down the benchmark a little bit. As long as it's 7.5 to 8.0 within that range, we will give you that certification as a certified master coach. Now, in the event, if you are 7.4 and below, you will still get a certificate, but in that certificate, you will not have the title as a certified master coach. You will only state that you have completed 80 hours of ICF approved coach training program in Artful Coaching. And that certificate with 80 hours, you can use it later on when to renew your PCC credential. Okay, or use it at the later stage when you need to meet 200 hours of coach training. Those can go into accumulating the coach training hours. Okay, so remember there is a 2 differentiation. 7.5 and above, you will have a certification title attached to the certificate. If it's 7.4 and below, you will still get a certificate with the 80 hours of coach training. Got it? So for those who got 7.5 and above, that means that your recording almost, okay, almost, or is reaching the MCC level. And that's where you can actually keep the 2 recording. And when the time is ready, you have all the hours required for MCC, you can submit that 2 recording. But it's just almost. You might want to get 1 or 2 more mentoring personally to make sure that that recording has the highest chance of meeting the expectations. Okay, but it's just a way to show you that your recording is almost there already. Okay, the rest of it is to find a mentor to sharpen it, to make sure that it's the ultimate best recording that will pass the assessment. Got it? Okay, so don't worry about that. Just need to know, do all your almost best. There will be a formal assessment based on the ICF systems in which there is a scoring attached to your recording, 7.5 and above and 7.4 and below. And that's where the difference are. Okay, if you want to know the statistics, 30% of the students actually pass 7.5 and above. Doesn't sound like an encouraging news. Well, there's a lot of X factors involved. Okay, students are not as diligent as it is. They do last minute homework, as usual. I mean, there are some good hardworking students. There are just students who just come along the way. You know what I mean? So 70% of them, because of work commitments and blah blah blah, but they're happy with the learning, as in they got the knowledge. They are able to be very artful around it. It's just that it's not hitting the ICF benchmark of an MCC pass. It doesn't mean that they are not artful. The learning is there. It's just in terms of actual demonstration that is required at MCC level for ICF assessment, they are not meeting the marks. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's just like when you fail your exam, it doesn't mean you learn nothing in the academic year. Does that make sense? Yeah, so the knowledge is still there, the skills is still there. It's just they don't have that people to qualify the precision. Good. Whew. Anything that you want to ask?
Are we able to submit the recording if it falls below 7.4?
No, it's just no. In formal examination, no, you only got one chance to pass the examination. Okay, but you certainly can go for extra mentoring session to patch up, and if you want to get the certification with the title, well, depending on where the gap is, you might I might just refer you for 1 or 2 sessions in which you can close out the gap. But but there will be extra fees required to review those recording and with the mentoring session. Okay. This is how to set the bar high so that students are more kind of like committed to learn and produce a recording. Okay, if we just say that, oh, there's a second chance, it's kind of like okay, it's kind of like different. It doesn't make the competition intense.
So Ben, you don't just break our wings, you also expect us to climb the high bar afterwards.
Without the wings to fly. Birds without wings trying to fly. Hi, Rainbow.
Ben, for the 2 recordings, sorry, because I'm not feeling well, so I'm losing my voice. For the first recording, so I submit 1 recording. Can I ask you to mentor and just to check whether I'm reaching the 7.5 before
yeah, usually that happens in that case. We will have the students submit by batches first. So there's a date for the first submission, and then the result will be reviewed, and then students will decide whether they want to submit the second recording or not. Okay.
Yeah, because we just want to know how does it look like in the 7.5 and above.
Yeah, the only difference that last intake, they only submit 1 recording.
Oh, so now you're raising the bar.
We want to really produce high quality. So now we reduce to 2, but less now in terms of you don't have to do a reflection paper or a research paper, but you do 2 recording in replace for a research paper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fair and square.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. The reason why we're doing that is really we want to push out as many of you to be able to apply for your MCC credential. Okay, so that's why putting 2 recording is very good. First recording, you'll get a sense of where you are. And it also allows people to know, okay, whether they are ready for the next final stage, which is to have the 2 recording ready for their MCC credential. So it kind of give them a good time of how much I need to move on, and also better management of time. If just for the purpose of learning, fine, then we can kind of negotiate around, how we can extend some learning to close up the gap. Great questions. Anything else that you felt that is important for you to take note of? Good. I'm sure there will be questions along the way. Just send me an email, and we're going to start the training soon. As in, it's starting in January, but I would love to be able to prepare some of you, as in mentally and whatever that is, with more focus of you being more involved in some of the practical coaching sessions so that you can get yourself kind of like in the shape. Okay, so we're going to have the registration close in 30th of October, so that from the month of November and December, when November and December, especially in the month of November, is a big period where a lot of training is happening. So that's where I can involve you, November and December, to be, getting into the space of learning before you jump in January. Okay, good. Maya is the best person to for you to reach out to if you have made the decision or you need certain special arrangement along how you would like to finance the tuition fees. Just let Maya know, and just let her know exactly how and what will work best for you. She will be there to facilitate it. Okay, great. So with that in mind, thank you everybody. Hope to see you in the next level as we complete the race.
Ben, can I have
Thank
2
you,
minutes
Ben.
of
Sure, no problem.